What's up, YouTube? I like our old buddy Splash would say, YouTubeites. What's going on, everybody? YouTubians, yeah, YouTubians. What's going on, everybody? Episode 3 of graphic content, where we just talk about tips of the community, just the tips. So appreciate Bleeker and K-pop hanging through. Anybody else that comes through, thank you guys for joining. Or if you watch this on the rewind, thank you. I'll probably say it again at the end, but thank you. So we're gonna shameless plug. Thumbs up, man. Thumbs up the video. Leave us comments if you got any ideas what to talk about next time. Shoot us up, man. It's almost like an open hangout type of forum thing. So we just we're just doing this for fun because me and Chris used to do a lot of hangouts, and so we just pick a couple topics, talk for an hour, and gonna have some fun. But let's introduce a guest who's gonna be hanging out with us and talking some comics, news, whatever we talk about today. It's gonna be a fun show. And don't forget that halftime we're gonna do slab or not the slab, and I'll be putting up polls where you guys can vote on the books we show, if we should slab them or not. But before you vote, if you're watching this early, before you vote, hear a little bit of the backstory on the book, because I saw one of the books that somebody showed me. You got to look it up to see the value, and then like, oh, you might change your mind about slabbing a book. So that's all I want to say when you do the vote. So special guest we have is a guy. He's hung out with Bueller. He's gone to New York Komikhan. This dude here is like the connoisseur of old comic book hangouts, traveling. I don't know what else to say about this guy, but he's also won a comic competition without even having a book. Yes, this guy. I hate to say that part, but Jeffrey Komikhan. What's up, Jeff?
What's up, man? Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on. It's good to be here.
No problem. I appreciate you hanging out. We have some good chats. Jeff always hangs out, and Chris as well. If I do pack and chat, or if I just do a hangout. So it's always cool to do any show with Jeff or anybody who I've always hang out with, like even Bleeker, any of you guys who we always chat it up with. It's always good to spend some time outside of the world we live in, which is craziness. Yeah. and kind of like divert that energy into like comic talk. So I appreciate it, Jeff, man. As
that's good.
Time.
Yeah.
So first thing we're gonna talk about to let people know is CBCS. We're not gonna go with CBCS CGC wars. Say which one to do, which one to like. It's basically just what they updated the community about. They released a video on their IG, I think, and Facebook. Took them like 5 minutes to get the video right because the camera kept flipping. If anybody saw the beginning, they know what I'm talking about. But it was nice for them to do that and answer some questions for people who had a lot of questions and who like to have multiple companies vying for business, because that's good for an economy and a collectible, whatever you want to say, but it's good in general. So they answered a lot of questions. About that. So we're going to talk somewhat about that. And not really talk mainly about CGC, but the only thing I will mention about CGC and that I didn't mention to these guys that I did notice, they kind of went a little faster on their economy tier without the fast track. So I have to give them a thumbs up on that note. They're at 49 days now without a fast track on economy. If people remember, they were in over 200 at one point.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, but CBCS, what do you guys think? Go to the guest. Jeffrey, I don't know if you heard about they sped up time, getting their books out. I think the longest wait now is 30 business days. And they promise to have everything that's currently at their office. Everything that's currently at their office out by May 1st. So if you got something there right now, they guarantee it'll be in your hands by May 1st.
So
what do you think about that?
I mean, personally, I got no issues with CBCS. Like, I think I've shipped books to them, and when I did it, it was 4 week turnaround time. From the time I sent it off to the time I got it back, 20 days. I think their grading's good. Like, but like, so to put that into a perception, I've had 6 books I've graded with CBCS as compared to like 50 through CGC. So the amount of, times that I've done it with CGC, and that there's going to be, you're probably not going to be happy with everything. I've worked with CBCS just a small amount of times, so the amount of errors possibility is less. But I've been satisfied with CBCS. I've only gotten like 2 or 3 books from CGC that I thought were pretty questionable. But I mean, that's not bad out of like 50 books. 3 that are kind of questionable. I feel like that's fairly acceptable.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
you think they're gonna keep that turnaround time though? That's kind of,
it's hard. Like, that all depends on the community and the people sending in books. I feel like, honestly, like, I think that's why like CGC's turnaround time is always so long, because their books retain more value to say, so people will always prefer to do that. But I don't know. I think you gotta pay for that shit, and you gotta be patient, man. Like,
yeah.
you just gotta be patient. Like, I send books off to CGC, and I can get them like back 9 months later. I'm okay. I'm a collector. I don't sell books. So if you're selling books, like, that sucks for you, because you hear characters coming out, you ship your stuff in to get graded, you get it back 16 months later, the book's already gone up and gone back down. Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a collector, like, I don't really mind waiting for 9 months to get a book back. Like, I'm not really in a rush as long as I get it back. I think that makes a little difference when you're talking turnaround times too. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm never in a rush, so it does make a difference.
What you got to say, Chris? I know you got something, because I know you're not a big slab person.
No,
you're not a big slab person. Jeffrey's not a big slab person at all. I'm only a big slab person. Just a little, give you guys a little 401. I'm just only because I sell and I collect. So I do a mixture of both, and it's a lot easier sometimes to sell a book when it's graded, because I don't have to argue with grade. But what you think about it, Chris? I know you probably got some.
So I'm kind of in the same boat as Jeffrey, except for, like, I've used, so I haven't slabbed much. I think I've sent, I think it's 2 submissions to CBCS. Both of them came back, really quickly. And it was perfectly fine. One was pre everything going crazy, and then the other one was last year. And I want to say, I think I got my books back. They were modern books, and I think I got them back within 2 weeks, which is like quicker than I expected them to come back. But and then I've only ever sent to CGC through facilitators. So that sometimes I'll say that's a tough thing to do, just because of the fact that and I realize this, that, like, sometimes those take a little longer, because of the fact that if you have a facilitator doing it, then you basically are being lumped in with everything they send in. So if they did a show, at a big con, even at a small con, if they do a show wherever, it's like, all right, you're in a one big huge batch that's all going out. So if things get backed up at one part of that order, it's everything, and they have to wait for everything to come back. So that sometimes can be a little tough. But I think that when it comes to the times that they will have, I mean, good for them for saying that they're going to, guarantee to get everything back by May 1st. Will they be able to keep that going? It all depends on what happens with convention season, just because, I mean, it's just starting up. So it's tough for anyone to sit there and say, well, they'll keep doing, because as everything ramps up, it gets really tough. And for CGC, I mean, they're doing all those signings and stuff, and it's like that takes a lot of time, because it's like, when you have a lot of people that are submitting because they want to get a certain artist, like the Tom McFarlane one, it's like everybody and their mom is sending everything, and some people are sending like short boxes full of stuff, and that's just for one person. So it's really tough to have that expectation that it's going to be quick every single time. But I mean, hopefully they can do it. I would say, I mean, it's good that they're, I mean, it's good that CGC is doing 49 days with, without the fast pass, because that's pretty cool. It's like, all right, little less, a month and a half, and then you can get your book back potentially. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I just think that that part of things is just one aspect of it, which is good. But there's going to be a little bit more to kind of get things going in a good direction. And like you said, it's great to have competition in the market, just because if everything is just being done by one, if one person has a monopoly, then it gets tough, just because then quality can slide. You'll look at it where it's like, if we're the only game in town, we'll get your books to you when we get your books to you. Too bad. So that's one thing that I think is good for everything, is just kind of having a healthy competition between those companies.
Yeah. I'll give a quick shout out. We had Bleeker talking about with Divas. That's why we started late. And then K-pop said we had to do a grand entrance. So I was actually the one that was late. My daughter had practice, and it's really the start time at 7:30 works better. But I tried to move it up a little bit, because I know Sands and the Wine and Cheese is like at 9 Eastern. So it's a rough start, but try to get you guys here, and then y'all can transition there towards the end of the show. Funk Comics, appreciate you stopping through, Funk. My boy, Mr. Minor Key himself, Hawaiian Punch. So appreciate you guys. Liz Barnes supports everybody.
Sup, Liz?
Probably the best supporter of the comic community, I would say, is Liz Barnes. She always comes around and says hello to everybody. So appreciate you guys stopping through. But yeah, that was what's going on with the time. So just let people know. But we're trying to, daughter got extracurricular activities, man. Trying to
family's always more important than YouTube.
Yeah. So it's like, and my dad stopped by, it was all kind of stuff. So, but yeah, another thing I want to talk about CBCS. Oh, Rebecca's in the chat too. What's up, Rebecca? Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Rebecca.
Yeah. But so CBCS, I like the fact that they said they dropped their times down to 30 days. They did reveal their magazine holder in person. They had they look like the and I didn't watch the whole video. I'm not even gonna be honest. I watched up until like halfway point, because it was like 45 minutes. So I watched like 25 to 30 minutes of the video, and I saw the magazine holder, and they said they're very close to I guess releasing a date for that. To shoot my little one shot towards CBCS and CBCS, the case I feel is better. Their new case, I feel is better. So I'm excited to see the magazines, because CGC did say they just did a revamp of their magazine holder, but I have yet to see it, and they're so far behind on magazines that put it like this. It's like
hey, when was the last book? When did you get your last book back from CGC?
Well, I haven't sent anything in a while, but the last time I got something back was February. Well, March 8th. It actually took a little while.
Because I got it ordered back like 2 weeks ago, and I swear the plastic's cheaper. Like,
you could feel the plastic is cheaper.
Like I can squeeze it tight together, and it like cracks, it pops, like, and it was like every one I got, and I'm like, none of the other ones do that.
Yeah, CBCS doesn't do that. I think we can confirm it is cheaper than CBCS, because CBCS has a UV protection. Has a UV protection on there, and they guarantee, that's what they say, that you don't have to reholder when you slab with them.
What is it, 10 years or something?
Well, no, CGC I think recommends after 5 years, I think. Yeah, like a reholder. And CBCS says you don't have to ever rehold it. So that's a big plus that they
are a little more expensive than CGC too. Remember,
they are, but their prices are, and that's another thing we kind of mentioned. Like they're more expensive, and their prices, they have different tiers of different prices. They're cutting out the membership. Well, they didn't have an update for the membership, so currently it is getting cut out. So it's like, that's the only thing I would say. I kind of like, I don't like they have so many different pricing, and I wish it was a little bit cheaper to compare with CGC. But they fixed a lot of things. I think with their case, the case is a lot clearer. They did talk about the customer service. Guess what? Customer service is all going to be in the U.S. So like if they're not working at the company, like at the building or somewhere around there, they're in the U.S. They said that the customer service got revamped for that. And what else they said they got to revamp? It was like a few other things, but that was like the main thing. The turnaround times and the pricing's still high, but the customer service thing got to revamp. So I like it personally. I like the customer service got revamped. Don't like the prices is a little higher than CGC. But all that tells me, you know what that tells me, that CGC will eventually raise their prices again. Mm-hmm. So it's inevitable. It's going to probably be sooner than later. So, but overall, I think CBCS is looking good moving forward, man. And I like competition. So,
nothing wrong with it.
You know, it and honestly, depending on the book, they sell for the same as CGC.
Yeah.
Depending on the book. I have to say that word again. Depending on the book. If it's a Grail, it doesn't matter if it's in the CBCS. You're gonna pay what that grade is. You know, so
I'd have no problem. I have no problem value-wise using CBCS and CGC like same price-wise, because I mean I've seen what CBCS does. I think they're a quality company as far as like their quality of grading goes. I think they're fairly accurate. I mean, for me, I still kind of question why CGC holds a higher level, just maybe because they've been around a little bit longer. But
yeah. I think that's what it is. It's just that they're the they were the first actual standard, so it's like, oh well, and because a lot of people I think went with or had no choice but to go with them first. To see that CGC label, like that's what most people have in their collections, so it keeps everything uniform. So maybe that's part of it, and then I mean, and they were always able to kind of go back and like, well, we were here first, and we're the standard. These guys are kind of copying us, so And I mean, like anything,
and the one thing we can say about that is, and nobody can deny it, Steve Borak helped start CGC, and guess what Steve Borak did? He helped start it. He didn't help. He basically him and another guy started CBCS. So the guy who had his hands on both companies started both. So like I feel he's not with either company anymore because he wanted to move back to Florida, and he didn't, like, he had a little disagreement with CGC, so that's why he's not probably ever going to go back with CGC.
Well, CGC is backed by Beckett too, right? Like
no, CBCS.
CBCS is okay. All right.
Yes, Beckett bought CBCS from Steve and his buddy and stuff.
Well, that's good. That's a good company to have invested.
Oh yeah. Beckett. That's why they're the signature verification. They still they're the only one I trust doing, because I know they got other companies that do it, but I trust CBCS more than anybody else for signature verification. And CBCS grades harder because Beckett grades harder. If anybody knows,
for sure. I like that. I like that.
If you got a CBCS 9.8, everybody makes mistakes, but a CBCS 9.8 to me should hold more weight than a CGC 9.8. That's just my opinion.
From what I've seen, I've
a lot of people. Too. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you guys. Sorry.
I was saying, because I've seen a lot of people that have shown, and I'm sure that there's CBCS books that have done this as well, where it's just like something's overgraded, and it's like, oh, well, I got this grade, but this is clearly not, a 9.6 or a 9.8, or like this is clearly not that, but they gave me that, so I'm kind of upset that they did that because of the fact that it's not accurate. Like if I go to sell this, there's going to be all kinds of defects, and then potentially you if you try to sell that, you're going to have something like, well, you're trying to scam me, like there's clear spine ticks on this, how is it a 9.8? So there's that, but yeah, I mean, and a lot of people I think also go to CGC sometimes because of that, because like, well, the grading is a little easier. CBCS, they were a little harsher on it, but it all depends on what your preference is. Like do you want something that, I mean, do you want a 9.8, an easier 9.8, then maybe go to CGC. But if you're looking for something that's like, really accurate, and I think too, if you're looking to hone your eye at grading, it's easier to be like, okay, so why is this, I got a 9.8 on this, so this is the difference between this book here that was a 9.4, and maybe that's a little easier to tell because, I know when it's, I mean, anybody can tell, a high grade 9.8 esque book versus like a 0.5 or something like that. Like that's easy. It's just those middle grades or the little nuances that change something from a 9.2 to a 9.4. Like sometimes that's a little tough to tell. So, if you're ever trying to do your own grading, CBCS may be better in helping you refine your eye.
So Rebecca, CGC was first, and then CBCS. Well, it was CGC, then PG and PGX, then CBCS. And CBCS overtook PGX like instantly because of like I said, Steve Borak, who started company. So that overtook them before they even had their first customer. And Bleecker, Bleecker is correct. I've yet to, and I know it probably has happened. People are not perfect. I've yet to have a book from CBCS that's a 9.6 or under that doesn't have notes. I usually every time I've gotten a book from them, even if it was a 9.6, I had some notes. And
I have, same here.
And one thing they did say,
9.4 is all notes.
Like, and one thing else they did say in the video we saw, everybody, or they post for everybody, is that they have 3 people or more that grade your book. It's not going to be lower than 3 people. And CGC says they do that, but it's hard to believe it because they're pumping out books so fast.
Yeah.
But they said they're going to have 3 people or more looking at books. And I'm like, and the pricing. One thing I did like about the pricing on this aspect, the pricing is high to a point. But they said, oh, if you send us an Action 1, say you send them an Action 1, how much a grade to get an Action 1? I think CBCS was what, 3% of the price or something, or
something like that. Yeah.
CGC is like 3 or 5%. I can't remember. I think it's 3%. 3% of the fair market value is for CGC. CBCS, They said it's like $200. I think it was like $250 or whatever it was. It was like that's the price.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, this is a $1 million book. Oh, we need to get $100,000.
Well, I'm curious to know, like, if part of that money goes into insurance. You know what I mean? Like, because if somebody's sending you $1 million book, you want to be able to put insurance on it in case something happens to it while it's in your possession, right? So
it doesn't go, as far as I know, that doesn't go with I don't know if that goes with the insurance. I'm not sure.
I don't either. I've just a thought because
I'm not sure. They never said. That's why CGC has said, "Oh, that we charge 3% because for the insurance."
Yeah, you'd think they'd say if it was or not, but I'm just like, I know people do that, and that for me, like that's sketchy. I've never sent anything more than like $2,000 is like the most I ever sent, and I can imagine, wanting to, like I couldn't imagine being a company like CGC and taking in a book like that, because I've seen books where people swear CGC screwed it up while they were there, dropped it, hit a corner. So could you imagine $1 million book? Like, I mean, you've got to probably have some sort of insurance on something like that.
And I'm not trying to harp too much on CGC about it, but I've gotten notes back recently that said thumb, like basically like when you pull the books out of the bag. Like the thumb, when you get a little thumb print, or not thumb print, but like a thumb indent or thumb whatever. I've had something say like that a lot of books, and I'm like, I haven't had that issue with CBCS. People, I call it fingering your books.
Dude, I got a book that had a grease spot on it, like freaking like totally bleached that area of the comic book. It's like, whack.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny. You would figure that they would be probably. I mean, and I know like this is gonna make fun of Splash a little bit, but you would figure if you're gonna be grading, you should be doing. I mean, like a thumb print or something like an indent. Okay, this kind of lends to my theory. But if you're like, there should be no excuse for like a fingerprint or a greasy any of that type of stuff, because you should be wearing gloves. Just I mean, if you're grading somebody else's book, you should definitely be wearing gloves so that you can't have any of the acids from your fingers transfer onto the book, or just because, I mean, if there's a big thumbprint or a fingerprint on there, it's just like, okay, like I know that wasn't mine. I can literally take it to the police station, like, whose thumbprint is this? You know what I mean? Is it mine? Because mine's on file here, so it's definitely not me.
Yes,
But
right.
That's one thing I would expect them to do is wear gloves while you're grading the book, where you have it out and put it back, and make sure it's all taken care of.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but I feel like they've got like some special table out there with like felt and like feathers and all this stuff on it to keep your book from getting all messed up or something. I would assume that a place like this would have like the highest quality, but they could just be doing it in a garage in a warehouse on top of a ping pong table.
Sure.
I don't know. Like, I would assume, you like to think that it's quality.
Yeah. Well, one thing I can say is, like, at least with CBCS just recently, they showed us like a little bit of the facility. They didn't go deep into it, but they kind of like was shooting from the facility, and they said their new place is like 10 times bigger than where they were. So it's like that's good to hear. So I'm curious to see, with them hiring more people, getting more stuff, will that place become too small for them? But they say right now it's huge. It's 10 times bigger than they were where they were at. So I'm gonna transition before we get to slab or not to slab. I'll say final thoughts on CBCS and overall thoughts. Final thoughts is I think they're in the right track. With the new hires, keeping a lot of stuff in house, like everything, the pressing service, the customer service. Everybody's either in house or US based. A lot of more updates they're doing. They're probably going to be doing another video. They said probably later. They're answering people quicker as far as like you put a question on IG. They actually answered my question. I put a question about their online ordering. If you have a mechanical error, in the past I was told to, fill out the order form, but write it on the paper, mechanical error, so I wouldn't get charged. And I was like, but how do I keep track of that book? It wasn't a new order. It was because I couldn't put it in there in the paperwork, so they told me to write it. And they said they updated and everything's gonna be done online. And I was like that was a positive. And like I said, they're answering. So overall, I'm happy that they're doing a lot better. I think it's only be better for us community people that use these companies. And I'm happy they're answering questions, and it's very positive. That's all I can say. It's very positive. And it's better for us. People don't realize that. They might just like CGC. It's better to have variety. Just look at companies that make things electronically or food companies and all stuff. It's just better. So that's my thoughts overall. I don't know what you guys the final thoughts, and before we go into the slab or not the slab, and then we'll highlight some questions and stuff. Before we go to the next one.
I would just say that if you have not bought any book that's been slabbed by CBCS because you're afraid of maybe the quality of the grading or anything like that, that you should not, because I think that they do a quality job in the aspect of grading. I speak more from a collector's standpoint than like a flipper, because I do know that like CBCS, I don't know why exactly, doesn't hold as much of a value. They sell for a little bit less, but that's even better. Like as a buyer, go get that 9.8 CBCS as opposed to getting the CGC. Don't be afraid of it. That's all I got to say. Like, it's not a bad thing whether you buy CGC or CBCS. They're both, in my opinion, from a collecting standpoint, fine in my collection.
I will say that I like I like both companies. I like what CBCS is doing. And what I'll say is this, as far as like the pricing, what people have, contention with that, all it's going to take is for CGC to raise their prices and to either be, the same or a little more expensive, and then everybody will jump on the CBCS train. And the thing that, I have to say, as far as, where you have, the grading and everything like that, which is great. bringing the customer service, back to the States is great. And then on top of that too, the signature verification really is a game changer. As much as you might like, CGC and everything like that. It's just that if it's not signed at that moment and witnessed, you're not going to get, you won't get the same as before. Like, it used to be they would just sit there and say, oh, writing on the cover. At least like you can get if you have a book that was signed, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, and you just didn't get it graded, you can always send it to the Cbcs. They'll verify the signature. You still get all the yellow label. So until I think that's going to be one of the big, I guess, hurdles for CGC is that until they get that, you're always going to have something that CBCS has that little bit of edge where it's like, you at least can still get books, verified where you couldn't before. So that's really where I stand on that. I think they're a good company. I think the competition is great, and I just think that that one thing is what gives them the edge. I mean, not saying that you take one or the other, but it's just if you were looking for services, that's one thing I think that they do that CGC doesn't. That gives them a slight advantage as to a company that you can send more to and be more versatile in what you're sending over.
Yeah, so highlight a couple people. I agree with Willy Wonka. You should have notes for everything under a 10. I do agree with that. I do agree with that.
That's true.
To answer He Who Remains, CBCS customer service now is all in the US based. They're either at the company or if it's somebody that's an at-home worker, they're in the US. That was said online on video. So if they're lying, they lied to us on video. So
yep, false advertisement.
We can't go that way anymore. And they're only and I don't crack CBCS and try to fix it because CGC can mess it up. That's just my you can take the chance with CBCS. I think they accurately grade very well. To leave it alone. That's just my opinion. Now, if the notes say certain things to be perfectly clean, yes, but I don't mess with it unless the notes say it. But appreciate you being a channel member, He Who Remains. So also doing this show, I'm probably gonna start doing giveaways. Like people who do super chats. So if you want to do remarks like this, you can get highlighted first, and I'll probably do a giveaway at the end for people who do super chats. That's just something I'm thinking about. I think it'd be pretty cool that you get your question or comment prioritized, and you get the chance to win something for free. So that's my thoughts on that. So I'll probably start doing that. So appreciate the people. Make sure you thumbs up. We're gonna go to slab or not to slab. I'm gonna start with myself. Because I think mine's might be a little bit easier. So we're going to be putting polls up. So should who that
these polls up
slab this book? Now, before you answer, I'm really talking to PTT, which is Kyle, who doesn't slab anything at all. Just wait. So we're gonna ask the community. I put it in the chat. So before you answer, this is the book, and I'll just make myself a little bigger at the moment. So this is X-Men 129. First appearance of Emma Frost. First appearance of Kitty Pryde and Sebastian Shaw, and I think the Hellfire Club. But I have a few of these raw. So just asking the community, what do you guys think? Should I slab this? I'm gonna get these guys the answer too.
What book is that?
This is X-Men 129. First.
Did you just buy that, huh?
Yes.
I was watching that auction. I think I seen you buy that in that auction, huh?
No. That's not those books. Those haven't come in yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you see where I'm going with that. But yeah, so. What do you guys think? I gave the community enough of a highlight.
Mine isn't slab, but it needs to be. But yeah, it's a great book to have, and definitely one that it's good to have it in the slab just because of the fact that, if the day comes that you have to sell a collection, that's not a book you want to have to haggle with somebody about like the price and the grade and everything like that. Just like, you know what? It's an 8.5. There you go. What
Agreed.
what are you gonna give me for it? That's the way I see it.
I can tell you this one is probably an 8 to 8.5.
Yeah.
I mean that I'd take 8.5s in those books all day long, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's a perfect grade range for a book of that age and everything like that. I know people will get snobby about like 9.8s and high grades, but like for a book in that age range, I'll take like 7.5 all the way up. Like
honestly, like this book. Yeah, he said, like you said, this book in this age range because it's getting older. This book is getting really old now.
Was it 79? It should say it right on the front. I think 1980.
We're talking 40 years old,
Yeah.
If it's 1980, you're talking about 33 years old. Yeah.
43,
so yeah. So in my opinion, people want to. I don't know about slabbing this copy. This is where I'm kind of like torn because I got a couple of others coming in. I'm probably gonna like really grade them really well and see how they can improve and stuff like that. But because not everybody wants to buy books slab, what I've noticed, but they'll pay up for a book if they want it. So I'm at the moment, I would say if this was the only one I had raw, it's slab. But since I have 2 other copies coming, I don't know if I'm going to slab all 3.
Pick the best ones out.
Yeah, I picked the best. Probably pick the best top 2 out of top 2 out of the 3. And keep one raw. That's what my mind is. But if this is my only one, I'm slabbing 100%. So that's just me.
I like Bleeker's comment on that one. Is because that's one thing to consider. It depends on what you have invested. Like if
I agree.
Well, let's say you overpaid for the grade range or whatever. I mean, at that point you may not want to slab it just because of the fact that if you overpaid, you're losing money at that point if you're trying to sell it back. But if you got it for like $5, I'll slab. There's not even a question. Just slab that.
I agree. He who remains 100% with that.
Yeah, I like he who remains. Said I would slab that bad boy for 7.0 and up. So that's kind of like honestly, that's why I was like 7.5 and up. So you kind of like right what I was thinking.
Yeah, and I mean, but as the book gets older too, like you're going to start taking lower and lower grades of these ones, right? Like say 20, 30 years from now, people are going to love to have a 7.0 of that book because all the other ones are gone. Like.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't even say 20. I'll say because we're at 40, like 3 years. I'd say like in 17 years because it's gonna be 60 years old.
Yeah,
in 17 years, this will be a 60-year-old book. So it's like you said, people are gonna be like, man, I'll be happy with a 5 over this book.
Like you've seen the books. You've seen the books I've been picking up. Yeah, man. They're going on 70 years old, and I'm stoked. I'm getting them in like a 4.0 range. So like.
So I haven't looked at the poll. So let's see what the poll says. Oh snap! This is actually. I didn't think it was going to be that, so we got 11 people watching. 11 people voted.
Yeah.
I think 11 people watching. There might be more people, but it said 91%. 91% said yes. Yeah. Only one person, I guess it said no.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, but it makes sense though. You think about it. Two appearances. It's a book that you
Who wants to go next? Who wants to go next?
I don't care. I'll go next.
All right, hold on. Let me put it.
Hey, so the thing about this book is I've got a big pile of books that I know I'm slabbing, and then I got a pile of books that are like in a maybe pile, guys. Right? So like I literally don't know anything about this book.
So
I picked it up at my LCS for $3. I'll tell you that much. It's Star Wars Infinity, number 1 of 4. It's a dynamic forces variant. I got it double back. I'll take it up first.
So look up this book before you just quick to answer. That's all I want to say. Like you said, dynamic forces, and it's a low number of dynamic forces too. Huh? It's like what do you say? It was like 51
of 2,500.
So they only made 2,500. 51 of 2,500. If you look up this book, the raws are like $90 or higher. Like around
probably
that
not a 9.8, but I bet you it's a 9.4 or higher.
So and
maybe 9.8, probably 9.4 to 9.6.
So that was like, but it's graded. That book is looks like in the hundreds.
They're listed for like $800-900, and I don't know if they might have been there for years listed.
But look, I'll say it like this. I always look at it. If something is listed for a price, then let's say cut it in half. Let's say $400. You could sell yours for.
Probably.
Like I'm just saying, if you grade it, let's say if it gets a 9.6, you could sell it for $400. He only paid $3. You said
$3.
$3. $3. He can invest $31, $35. He can invest in a $3 book, and possibly let's see on a super low end that it's only $200. So you can more than double your money.
Oh yeah.
So
and that's assuming though that I would assume.
So I'm just going by the numbers. If this is a book to flip, that's why I think you put it into maybe collar grade. If it's a book to flip to sell, then you can use that money for something else. I would say slab because you only pay $3 for it, and it's going to be minimal to invest into it. Like all in with pressing. With pressing and grading, you're probably going to be just above $50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
and
why
I'd send it in with like a couple other books, so shipping would work itself out to where shipping's nothing.
And if the grade came back at some of those prices that you said listed, like if they have one, if it came back at 9.8 and the cheapest 9.8 on eBay was $800, I'd be like $300, and I would guarantee you would sell it immediately.
That's crazy.
So that's.
But see, that's the thing is you can't find much about this book other than what you just saw on eBay.
Yeah.
We just looked it up.
But we know it's dynamic forces. We know it's a low print because it's only 2,500. And
it's signed by Nick Barucci. Like I could probably email him right now and like be like, "Hey, you sold this book, right? This is legit or whatever." And he'd be like, "Yeah, man." Like,
well,
that's my answer to it. That's my answer to it. So I'll let Chris answer.
Oh no! Well, I mean, you got to look at it. So you have that stuff going for it. Plus, it's a gold foil on top of that.
That means it is worth money.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is that from who that's saying is just like if you were to put it up for 300, let's say doing the whole taking it in half and everything, just looking at that cover. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing that book. But if you're a Darth Vader fan and it's worth something, absolutely. But like Darth Vader
I found there was not this book, but there was 5 different Dynamic Force Star Wars books there, Episode 1, Phantom Menace, and I bought all of those. But those were they're glow in the dark and all that stuff. But they were like a high print one, 15,000, I think, on those ones. That's why this one caught my eye when it was only 2,500 copies. So.
Yeah. So I mean that's always a good thing too. Low print run, and then it presents well, and happens to have some value behind it. So I mean, all signs point to slab.
Yeah, I don't. There isn't any
and Human Reigns does put a good point up. You could easily look up. Well, I think he looked up pricing and stuff like that, and I don't think they had any recent sales. But the census, you could actually look up the census easily on CBCS, and that doesn't mean a whole lot. I'm just gonna put that out there because I got a few books that are low in the census count, and it really doesn't matter in some cases. But
I think it's like with every book, though. There's got to be a desire or a want.
That depends on who's the if you have someone that's looking for hidden gem type things, and they might look for it. But people who are just your average collector, that might not mean much to them. But then again, you never know.
All right. Well, so far I'm gonna end the poll, but 75% say yes. 25% say no. So I think they seem to say just because of the print count. That's the main reason. And
well, I mean, it's Star Wars and it's Darth Vader.
And Star Wars, Star Wars, Darth Vader, and print count. That's
so there. It does have some good things going for it as far as that, but that's like I said, not a lot of info out there.
All right, we're gonna go to Chris.
All right,
Boston Chris. Should Chris slab this book?
This one I think is a little bit more subjective than the other two. The reason I say that is just because it's if it's a key, it's a minor key. It's not anything crazy, but it's just a really nice looking cover. And I mean, it's not so much to flip, it's not so much to do anything crazy with. But we're going with this background number one, Adam Hughes variant. I mean, actually, Adam Hughes cover. So this is a cover A, which it just looks really cool. It's a really nice book. And as far as like Adam Hughes covers, it's like I would say, for a regular cover A, it's just a really pretty book. So it would look great in a slab. It's Barbara Gordon's return from being Oracle, or return to Batgirl from being Oracle. So that's I think like the big key thing in it. And then there's I think one villain that appears. I think she's a minor villain. Forget what her name was. The Mirror, first appearance of the Mirror. So but other than that, I mean, it's just like would this look good on a wall somewhere? Yes. If you can get it signed by Adam Hughes, even better. But I feel like this one again, nice and subjective. I'll tell you right now, I paid $10 for it, so it wasn't like I paid a lot of money. It's just basically done to, I guess, enhance just the book itself. It is my reasoning for trying to slab this or not to slab it. So that I just want to see what you guys think. Like, if you had it, would you slab it? Would you not? Knowing that you only paid $10 for it, knowing that it would look great in a slab.
Well, I'll tell you my thing on it. I would if I know it's a 9.8,
mm-hmm.
I would definitely slab it. But I know Adam Hughes is doing a signing. I would actually get it signed and slab. That's
partially why. Let me add that to it. So he's coming to a local con of mine. So I could get it signed and slabbed right there. So
I would say Dennis a yes.
All right, because this is unsigned, so it's not a big deal. But I'm just thinking, unsigned, just as is, I can understand. Signed, does that change anybody's mind?
Well, I would say yes. If you're getting it signed and getting it slab, you could save a lot of money because it'll be cheaper to get it signed in person than it is to send it to CGC.
Oh yeah, no, that's going to be in person.
So I would say yes. That's just, and maybe you could talk them in and use your I'm trying to think of what the right thing to say, but Chris can talk very well, and maybe he could talk into like a little remark. That would be awesome.
I could try, but I feel like Adam Hughes is really like he's tough about that type of stuff.
I've heard he's gotten really, what is it, Madonna-ish, or what do you want, Diva-ish?
Diva?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like
Madonna.
A big problem. So one of the things that you'll like, and it was pretty well documented. It was a couple of years ago. I think it was maybe like 4 years ago. He really went on a big rant about doing sketches, having people take sketches and just sell them for more money. So it's like, I did this commission for you for $300, and now you're selling it for $2,000. That's bullshit. And it's just like, well, I mean, so that's why it's just like, oh, you want to do a little remark on that shit? Probably like, no. So it's just like, I mean, he is a nice guy, but it is just like you kind of have to gauge. So I mean, let's put it this way: if I'm in line and I see somebody else like, oh, like, would you do a remark on me? Yeah, no problem. Maybe I'll talk him into it. But if he's just like, no, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna read the room and say, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But overall, though,
I'll tell you my answer. If you're getting it signed, I would definitely get it graded. That's just me.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't selling it, I would get it graded just because it would look cool with the freaking gold label. Because it has a gold Batgirl, the title's in gold. I would get him the autograph in gold, a gold pin, and then you get the gold label. That's just me.
Yeah.
And just to let people, it's not always about slabbing to sell. Sometimes we're just slabbing to preserve, or we're slabbing just because we're getting it signed, and you might as well take advantage of the witnessing. So just to let people know on that. But I would say yes. Jeffrey, you think he should slab that book if he's getting signed?
Man, I'm not really sure. Like I don't do a lot of DC. I know that there's a first appearance of the Mirror in there, right? Like, is that a pretty major character? Or?
Nah, but just in general, it's just it's more just for the cover. I mean, if anything, like that's the only thing that.
So here's my thing.
Yep.
I have books that I'm going to get slabbed just because I think they're beautiful books, and that it's not about the monetary value. I just think they're beautiful, and I think that if I put them on display, it'd look great. So if it's for something like that, then I say, yeah, I think you got every right to do that, and I'm gonna have books like that too. But if it's not worth I always like to say, if a book is worth less than the price it cost me to slab it, then it's probably not worth slabbing.
Oh, that's a good way of looking at it.
And I'm only saying that because, I don't deal much with DC, so this book, I don't really know anything about it. Other than what
cool.
you know.
Yeah. No, and I can agree with that, depending on, I mean, just, for me, I think it's just more for looks, but yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Like, if it was another book and it was like, it's, $10 book, do you slab this or not? A lot of times you hold back, like, nah. But I mean, but if it has a personal,
Absolutely.
I guess sentiment to you, then yeah,
Yeah, I've got books like that too. So
yeah.
So we got 11 votes and there's 11 people watching. We got the first no on this little thing we've been doing. So it's 64% no, 36% yes. It's probably a little bit higher percentage because I said yes. I think Jeffrey said no. I think though, so it kind of balances out.
I kind of said no, but I support the fact of him doing it if he decided to. Like,
because it's not always about mindset. But at the end of the day, it's cool to get other people's insight and other people's votes. If anybody in the chat wants to say why they did what. You don't have to say, for either time they could have, but it helps us as collectors if you're unsure about stuff. Like for me with this book, I know I want to, but I don't know if I should do all three of them. You know what I mean? It's just it's different things, and it's signature books. I would definitely do it. A book that I don't know much about that I see crazy prices with, I probably definitely would do it. So it's So that's just me, but I appreciate everybody voting. I like doing that, and I I think you get more votes that way. That's because I think we asked last time we asked one time, and I was like, wait, we're not getting as many responses. So I know they got another show going on, but we're gonna quickly talk about this subject. But we're gonna talk about this subject I know we're gonna talk about this more than once. And probably have Jeffrey again talking about this subject, again. But the comic book market. So we're gonna spend the next probably 15 minutes. We're gonna go overtime. Next 15 minutes, and we'll talk about the comic book market. But and like I said, we're gonna talk about this again. But comic book market, I think is going in the right direction. The reason why I'm saying this, I've seen other people who don't really collect comics are coming into the market like doing what they did, I would say, a couple years ago, when you saw new faces, new names, people who don't really collect, investing in the comics. So I've seen that happen again. And then I see prices are very affordable, and it's a buying time frame, and people are buying again, but they are being very selective, but they are buying. So I think the market's in an uptick at the current time. Stuff is selling. Some stuff is not selling for as much as you want to, but stuff is selling. So that's just my thoughts. I think the market's doing good. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the next couple of months. And I'm excited to see where it goes overall. And I think the movies are going to be a lot better in the future as well too, because we're seeing a lot of changes for that. So, that's my thoughts on the comic book market. If people have any questions, y'all can ask the questions in the chat. If you want me to see the questions immediately, super chat it. But if you have any questions or comments about the market, what you guys think, what you guys think? What you think, Chris?
So I think it's in a good spot. I agree with you that it is a buyer's market right now. And really it's kind of funny because when it comes to the books that are on my top list, for the most part, the ones that I've been really focused on, the prices are definitely going up. I know from January, like I've been tracking some books from January, and on, and from January to March they've gone up. I mean, just all across, a few different characters, like some Bronze Age, some Silver Age, and just overall, people are looking at different stuff. They're trying to. I think that where some things dipped for a while, I think people are trying to start to buy those characters again. So they're starting to, get some, get some more, I guess, traction. I mean, a good example is like Ghost Rider, like Ghost Rider books, especially first appearance, second appearance, and number 1 and 2 are definitely trending up. I think Iron Man 55 is trending up. There's a few different books that like I've had my eye on that are just they're higher priced books right now, and are they going to get to be hopefully not to like 2020 prices again, just because who can afford that? Like that was just was it 2020 or 2021, whatever it was. I don't want to say go that high again, just because it's like, oh, I'm priced out of a lot of things at that point. But when it comes to where everything kind of stands, I think that the one thing that I do kind of dread a little bit with that is that people who are just kind of jumping in, like you said, like they're jumping in and they're getting certain books, and what are they trying to price out? Like, are they doing it just for speculation purposes? Where it's like, all right, we have thoughts that like what characters are going to be coming. So it's like the Galactuses, the Thanoses. I'm sure Mephisto's going to see another spike because there's a lot of talk about Sacha Baron Cohen and everything. It's just like all these different things, and then it ties back to Silver Surfer too, because that's where his first appearance is. So it's just like like where people are going to jump into those characters and make them really tough to get. That's one thing that I'm not so happy about, just because I am not a rich man, so I don't have money to spend like that if it goes too high. But if you are one of those people that's looking to move those things, though, it could be a very good time for you. So it's always, there's always depending on where you are with everything. Like if you're trying to buy and it's going up, it's tough. But the thing I say is that it's not just spiking straight like it did at that one point. So it's more of a gradual thing. So I would say, if you do have the ability to get some of that stuff, maybe now's the time to look for it. I think that the movies will see a different. The movies will definitely see more quality, just because that seems to be what Bob Iger is going for. So, at least with the Disney side of things, I'm not sure so much what DC or Warner Brothers and them are planning, but I do know that the focus now with the Disney side is quality. So hopefully that translates into some really cool movies. It translates into some cool comic sales, and just bringing some things to the surface, bringing some characters to the screen in the ways that we'd like to see them, versus putting something out there that might be a little bit subpar. Because you don't want to see a big character that you've been waiting years to see. You don't want to see them be wasted on just kind of, I don't want to call it cheap, because there's nothing cheap about any of the CG that's on there. But I mean, you don't want to see them kind of just throw something up just to throw it up there. You know what I mean? Or have to go back and make all this. Like, for example, the first trailers that they put for She-Hulk, and people are like, oh my god, look at this thing, this is terrible. Or even the first Sonic the Hedgehog trailer that came out.
A lot of stuff. To answer that, and this, Chris, but because you kind of dealt with that type of stuff in school and stuff, but people don't realize a lot of these trailers, a lot of these movies. Let me say it like that. A lot of these movies are work that deal with CGI. Guess when their CGI is done? Literally the week of opening week, and it's done. It's like they work to the end, and and that what happens with that is that when they have to release a trailer months in advance, if they want to show a certain character, the CG is not ready. So but I like I said, I think the quality is going to help the market. I think that's going to be good.
Yeah.
What you think, Jeff? You think is the market is going to be rebounding?
Oh yeah, but I mean, we might be 20 years away from another spike like we had or something like that. But I think it's definitely correct. I think it's
so please, nice slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, no, for real, because like, okay, it was everything. It wasn't just comic books that jumped.
Oh,
up,
yeah.
man. We're talking video games. I got video games that were like $1,500 during the spike. That dropped back down. Everything's correcting itself. You go to the store and buy milk and shit.
I mean,
fly up.
houses were crazy.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, everything. And now it's kind of like shit canning itself and falling back down to normal prices. Like books that were like, you know, a couple $100 before the inflation jumped up to $1,400, and now they're coming back down to being about $50 more than they were before the spike. So really, like, it took 2-3 years to even itself out to go up like $50. So I think that if you're buying books now and, you know, you're paying about, you know, what they were 2 years ago or so, maybe a little bit more than that, then you're doing all right. Like, I wouldn't be chasing books for super high prices, because I think that is going to hit a wall. And unless it's like a super major key, I don't think it's gonna, like, She-Hulk #1 shouldn't be freaking more than $100, 9.8. Like, that's how I feel, because there's so many copies of them out there, right? Like, these people are paying ridiculous prices because the movie comes out and they think it's gonna make a bunch of money, and then a week after the movie comes out, the books just fall back to right where they were before. It's a trend, it's a cycle. If you're not doing your research and you're not seeing all this and you're paying those high prices, then I don't think anybody can help you.
Yeah, he said one key thing too: research. Do your research and don't chase books. Don't chase books. I'm gonna highlight a couple people because they had a lot of comments. He said people buying because their tax income, if they got it yet. I ain't got mine yet, but you will see an influx of buying. I would say in the next month to 2 months, maybe even 3 months, stretching of people will be buying stuff because they got the income tax. So you will see that. I don't think it's happened yet, but you think you will see that. What did K-Pop say? She said books don't need to be that expensive. She was talking about the slabbing part. Yeah, it's all on if you want to do it or not. It's, you know, sometimes.
It's just like the grading process itself. It's all subjective.
Yeah.
What you want to get graded to the grade you get.
It really depends on you and what do you like to do. You know, if they're expensive, you don't have to. But I would always recommend, if you're selling something that's expensive, slap it. That's just my opinion.
I hate when I'm watching an auction and somebody's like, "Oh, guaranteed 9.8. Oh, guaranteed 9.8." I'm like, "Nah, man, there ain't no such thing as a guarantee." I
got a question on that. Kind of aside. Have I ever said that?
No, it's not you. I'm not.
No. Yeah. I just wanted to point that out, that I've been doing it long enough to know not to ever say that.
Like, I don't have a problem with it's a candidate. It's a 9.8 candidate. That's cool. That's fine.
I've said that before.
Guaranteed it's going back to 9.8. No, don't.
That's a guarantee. All
I usually say, I say it's high grade. I was like, I mean, I would say get it, with a press. You might be looking at a candidate, but like, I'm not a grader. Like, I always I'm not a grader.
I like what Bleeker said. He says the market's fine. Books go up and down all the time. You can't judge the market by 2021. I agree.
And
2021 was
that's a throw it out the window year. Man.
Like, and a lot of people say it's because people was getting free money. No, that's people weren't getting that much free money. You talking about people were spending money on books?
Yes.
People were spending tens of thousands on books, on some cases, hundreds of dollars. Yeah, you get $1,400, $1,500, whatever we got for as money wise from the government. That wasn't enough to spend the money I've seen spend. So I think the market is fine. I agree with Bleak. I think the market is fine. Stuff goes up and down. Those key books that we all know, like, who collect long enough, we know those key books. They gradually always going to go up.
They're not going down.
FF1s, those AF15s, they might settle down a little bit because they got inflated. But guess what?
Way too much.
But guess what, Jeffrey? In the next 2 to 3 years, they're still going to go up.
Yeah,
whatever they settle at, they might go up 3%, 4%, 5%. But that's better than nothing.
But here's the thing: in 10, 15, 20 years from now, when this whole process happens again, because it does, history repeats itself, especially with pop culture and things like this. When this happens again, instead of it jumping up from like a $300 book to a $1,300 book, it's going to be a $500-$600 book, and it's going to jump up to like $2,400.
Yeah.
because that's the way the market works.
Which is fine. You know, if you're on the other side of that, that's great. Especially if you're looking to get out and be like, oh yeah, like let me cash out. The thing that's, you know,
I'm talking keys. I'm talking like big keys too,
Oh yeah,
not just
no,
like
that's what I'm saying.
random
Yeah.
books and things.
No, if you have big keys and it's just like, you know what, I got them and I'm ready to get rid of them. That's exactly the time you do it, just because you don't care what happens next. The thing that, you know, if you're the person buying that, being like, oh, look at this, you know, like I bought this book for $2,400, like in 5 years, who knows, it's gonna be $15,000. Like, no, it's not. You know that. You're just,
you might get lucky and catch a hot spot, you know, but
yeah. And just to give an example, it's just like, you know, like where people, like in the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody's freaking out and people are buying, you know, just pallets of toilet paper, and people bought, like, there's one dude bought, like, on Amazon, I want to say like something like 30 grand worth of hand sanitizer thing. He's gonna sell it for $100 a bottle. And
I remember that. He got in trouble for that.
yeah, it's just, they do it. It's like, okay, so you bought that much, like, do you really think people are gonna sit there and be like, oh, sanitize $100 a bottle? Like, it's like, no, man. Like that's a stupid investment, just for the mere fact that everything's gonna correct, and then toilet paper is gonna go back to being what it was before, and you're gonna feel stupid that you have. I mean, you'll never need toilet paper again, but you also spent $15,000 on toilet paper. So same deal with the comics. It's like, you know, yeah, you know, it would be great to, you know, if you bought a book that, you know, at $2,500 and you hope that it gets high like that, and then it corrects, and, you know, it was a $600 book before and now it's $700 book, an $800 book, you kind of feel stupid, just because, like, I paid $2,400 and now it's back down to $800. It's like, get prepared, you know, hope that you're around for another 20 years for this to happen again.
Yeah, I want to say I'm on a different boat than He Who Remains, because he actually buys stuff from me, so he knows. But I'm not sitting tight because books are selling too low. I am purchasing books at the right price, so I can sell it at the right price, if that makes sense. You know, like, yeah. So like, if you buy a book at a certain price, yeah, you can't sell it. But that's when you gotta negotiate the best price. You try to buy raw books over graded books if you're trying to flip, or you're trying to sell. That saves you a lot of money, you know. So it's a lot of different things, but I'm not holding tight. I'm just being I'm trying to be as smart as possible.
Right. No, you have to be like
in this current market to buy and sell.
Well, when I'm buying a book, especially maybe like a more expensive, higher price book, I always like I do like, where's it selling at as compared to what it's selling, like, listed for. And then I think about how much money I have to spend, and I try to find myself like, okay, well, I can afford this book in like a 3.0 range right now, you know, like that's really where I'm at in this book. So then I sit there and I look, and I'm looking for like the lowest price 3.0 range book, you know, that I think is in good condition or whatever, and things like that. So I also think that plays a little bit into like what you're doing, you know. Like, absolutely. set yourself a realistic goal based on what you can afford and go after. Like, like some people go into it just everywhere, scatterbrained. I'm looking for the most expensive.
That's why I like setting, like, one, because I hated when a certain YouTuber talked downly on this, but I like people setting goals in our list. I like that because it kind of helps you focus a little bit, you know?
Yeah,
you know what you want to get, you know the grades you want, you know the amount of money you want to spend. I like doing those lists, and I hate it when that person talked bad about it and didn't like when people do it. Yeah. Because basically you're saying you're okay with people being scatterbrained and going all over the place. I like, no, it's good to focus. If you know what you like and what you love to collect and what you want to collect, what's the hurts to put a list together so you can know where you need to be to get that?
Yeah,
right. I like that, and it helps you. It helps the market, and with this current market, it's great right now to do a list.
Well, the thing is, so, and I'll answer this to what K-pop saying, because she's saying lists are cool, but no one can list to get AOKs for the books.
Well, I didn't bring that up, did I? I didn't think it was. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not talking. I'm talking about personal collecting goal list, not like a list on YouTube. Is what I meant.
No. I mean, I understand that. Like, I mean, just because somebody said the magic word. So, you know, like, I'm not like, I don't sit up here and be like, you know, it would be really nice to have an Iron Man 55. If anybody just has when they want to give. I mean, You know what I mean? I'm not sitting there like that, but I'd be like, oh
no, I did. I
No,
hope I didn't make it
you
sound
know,
like that's what I was talking about.
no. It's just like, you know, but I have mine just because, like, and I said it even in my video that I made. I was like, this is a very long shot list as far as, you know, there's a lot of expensive stuff on it, stuff that I know I can't afford to do all in 1 year. That's insane. So that's why it says in little letters and beyond, because I, you know, didn't plan my, I didn't plan the spacing well on that. But when it comes down to it, it's just like, you know, the way I look at it is doing a list and doing the research, and, you know, because I'm looking for, you know, higher books. There's a lot of stuff I'm doing. Like I have an actual, you know, Excel spreadsheet where I put everything that, just because you have to be like, when you're going for that, you have to be responsible, and doing a list, I think, makes you more responsible than just kind of, I mean, and this is not to say that if you just got to buy books, don't keep lists and everything that you're responsible. You're not. But if you know the type of person that you are, like I know me, it's just like there's so many books I can look. I can go on eBay and be like, oh, that's a good price. That's cool. I should get this. I should get that. And it's just like, and yeah, it sounds all well, and then you start doing it. It's like, oh shit, wow, I did not know that I had this much high of a credit card bill. It's not good. So it's just like it's all something that I look at, where if you're really seriously trying to get certain books and you know that they're expensive, it's good to do all that research and know where you're at. Just like Jeffy was saying, be in this price range. Don't go past it. And sometimes
I want to go through these couple of people comments real quick, because I'm way so far behind. To answer K-pop at I guess Bleecker, housing was high before COVID, and housing is going to stay high after whatever we go through now. Just do some research. I'm not saying you're wrong or anything, but I'm just saying my mom's a real sage, and I know they have the reason why the housing market went as high as it did before COVID is because we have more of a demand than supply. And it's that's the big reason for that. So it's crazy. The housing market is going to stay crazy. And He Who Remains talks about Disney subpar movies. At least their movies are subpar, but they make money. DC movies don't make money, but they're subpar. So that's even worse when it doesn't make money and it's subpar. But at least they're making money.
I gotta say, like, Marvel's been a little hit or miss lately. They've still been
I agree they've been hit or miss, but DC's been hit or miss, but they're not making any money.
They've been a lot more miss than hit.
They are more miss, but they're not even making any money. That's the bad thing. Like Marvel could be miss, and they've been making money. So it's kind of crazy. But let's see what else. Interest rates.
Anybody hear that like X-Men are gonna come in this next?
You said like 2025 or something. I heard about it.
Yeah. Just because
I heard well, not the X-Men, but like Jean Grey, Professor Xavier, Magneto, and who else was it? Freaking Fantastic Four dude. We're supposed to be in Deadpool 3.
Well, I don't know nothing about all that, but I know about what Hawaiian Punch is saying. He said all I say is if you don't buy it raw for fair market value, then I'll grade it, which I agree with. That's why you can't you buy raw in this current market at a good price. Don't pay graded prices for raw books, and you can grade it. You can have that option. You can have that option to grade.
I support that 100%, especially now that I've heard like horror stories of people getting scammed with fake books. You know what I mean? Get your book raw, inspect it yourself, make sure it's legit, make sure everything's there, make sure your Marvel value stamp's all there, make sure every page is there, make sure the centerfolds are all on page, and then you ship it out and get it graded.
Well, the other thing too, especially if you're buying graded books, I would say buy from someone that you trust. Buy from someone that you know is legit. Just because if you're buying something, you know, I mean, just because same stories that like I read those two and they were scary, like thinking about it, because it's like, you know, there were big books that were coming back and they was like, no, these are fake, dude, sorry. And it's just like, you know, you know the person spent big money, so it's just like it can be kind of a tough one. But yeah, if you buy it raw and it's good, go for it. But you know, I think that you know, when it comes to just a lot of this stuff, you know, it's really just kind of going at your own pace. I think that really is what is the most smart thing to do. Go at your own pace, stay within your lane, and don't don't try to keep up with other people, just because as much as it's cool to be able to say, yeah, I got this book because and thinking that like, oh, I'm keeping up with all these with all these other collectors, and it's just like, if you can't you got to do what you can afford. So if your collection is just, I don't know, like if you're a minor key guy and that's it, stick with those. If that's what you can really do. There's no need to go out and get grails if you can't afford them, or you don't have to, or if you're trying to, you don't have to keep up with the quantity of people doing it. If you're just sitting there like, you know what, I'm going to one big grail this year, and that's what I'm saving up for. I got this one big book. Do it. Like if that's your pace, that's your pace.
I like what he remains says. So like he says, a lot of books are hot, like at a good price, which is true. So a lot of I've said this before, and I've done a video about it, and then somebody else did the same video and said the same thing as I said. But patience helps out a lot when you're buying books. Patience helps out a lot.
It's the best advice I ever got, I swear.
If you can be patient, I know some people, and we all know some of these people, and that money burning in their pocket, they got to spend it immediately, and they tend to overspend and help out the GPA highs on us, for us people. But yeah, if you can be patient, when you have money, just try to be patient. Like he remains said, and I always tell people, try to be patient when you're buying stuff. And also the list helps you put a word out. Go back to the list.
Yeah.
And what you're kind of looking for, because every now and then I'll see a book. I say, and I did it to Chris a few times. Say, man, what are you looking for this book? And he's like, yeah, not right now. Like, yeah. I had the book. I've had the book a couple of times. I traded him an extra book he had for a book he didn't want. So it's like, it's good to do that like that. What am I punch on?
I saw that. Yeah. Well, making a list, like I was say, okay, when I was
I didn't know that.
Jeez. Yeah, you didn't see that?
No, I didn't know he threw all of that for 9K.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, really? Wow. I just remember the 1 3.0.
Yeah, I just remember the 1 3.0. I didn't know he added all that other stuff.
It can help you to stay focused. Like, say,
wait, the X-Men 1 came back a 6.0?
That's crazy.
Anybody read that last sentence?
No, I didn't. I thought 9K.
I saw that part, then I read the rest of the sentence, and it said X-Men 1 is a 6.0. Please confirm that that's what you said. Then he says no.
Oh, 6K actually. Okay.
Oh, 6K. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I was collecting Tales to Astonish, and I'm making my list, and it's like, because I started getting scared, because this is right before the market started going up, and I'm watching the prices on everything just shooting through the moon, right? Yep. So I laid it out, and I was able to get the books I needed the most, which are the most expensive, the biggest, highest key signatures, and I knocked the highest, most expensive ones off first, and I worked my way down, which is normally not how I do it, right? Normally I just buy the cheaper stuff and I'll work my way up, to the expensive high stuff. But I saw that the market was trending up, so I guess you could call it a little bit of FOMO, but I wasn't chasing these new hot books of the week kind of thing. It was just the stuff that I normally get my Hulk stuff, Tales to Astonish. So I see it start trending up. So then I tried to start, doing all I could to knock the most expensive books out of the, way, get them done. And then you work your way down to the cheaper ones. So, I mean, maybe just something for people to think about when you start seeing books start to go up. If there's a book that you may have just been holding off on, because, you weren't ready to spend the books, maybe you get that book then, and then you kind of jump back down and work your way down to the cheaper books. Yep. But that's just, I think planning and preparing and making a list helps you a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And too, it can help you from, if you don't know if you have something, double buying, triple, just because that can be a killer too, where it's like, you don't have a lot of money. It's like, I have 5 of the same books. I keep buying because I keep forgetting I have it.
Not all the time.
So, we went a lot over the time. We could talk about this stuff long. I got to thank everybody in the chat. We'll go deeper into this. Probably have Jeffrey again when we'll talk about the market again, because he's getting stuff graded and we're all getting stuff graded. But I want to thank Bleeker, K-Pop, He Who Remains, Hawaiian Punch, you guys who hung with us through the end and left comments. I think y'all are the main ones that hung with us till the end and left comments, but everybody else who stopped in, all the way from Kyle to Rebecca to Liz. And if I missed your name, I apologize, but thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I want to say that first and foremost. Like I said, next time we do a show, I'm gonna try to do like a super chat giveaway for the live viewers. So just be on the lookout for that. Jeff, you got any last words? Anything you want to shout out? What you thought about the show? What you like? Anything, man.
It's always good hanging out. It's always good hanging out with you guys. You know, we get to spend time together, and I like that. But just be prepared. Friday night, the hunt. Let's go. Let's go.
It's gonna be a good one.
It is. I'm gonna have to catch it on the rewind because just out there doing my.
Tell them what you got going. Tell them what you got.
Yeah, so this weekend, I'm gonna be heading down to Komikhan in New Jersey. So it's gonna be a pretty just awesome show. Komikhan 4. It's if you're in the New Jersey area and you can get down there, Saturday and Sunday, it's gonna be pretty much. I'm gonna call it YouTube East, just because that's how it was, before, and just basically Pressable Defects, New York Warriors, 3 Men in the Basement, myself, Amazing Murphinata, and just a bunch of other guys from Instagram and YouTube all together, just collecting comics, talking. I was seeing. I think Mark Morales is gonna be on there and Ryan Brown. Few other artists that are going to be down there, so maybe get a sketch, maybe not. I don't know.
Sick.
But it's going to be a really fun time hanging out, checking out some books and just, having fun with the community down in that area. So if you're going to be in that area or if you're going to the show, I will see you there.
You see Who Remains?
Yes. Yeah. One thing I want to do, before we go, I appreciate everybody. Please thumbs it up. My daughter wants to share a drawing she did. She just did this drawing. So I think she's getting better and better. She just did this one. How long it took you? Like a couple minutes?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. And if you haven't seen, you better go check those leprechauns out.
Yeah. the leprechauns. She's about to redraw the boy leprechaun again because he misplaced it. But yeah, she just did this one today. She appreciated everybody who left comments and liked the pictures we shared.
Yep.
We did a little short video of the pictures too. You want to say anything before we go?
Yeah, and this picture we're gonna do more on my channel, even though it's gonna be on Daddy's. So we're gonna do more of these coloring things or like activities that you wanna go on, and you wanna go and you never saw. So we're just gonna keep drawing these cool coloring and see what comes next.
Nice. I'm gonna have to tell Allie. Allie's gonna be your first person to watch.
She said he's gonna tell his daughter so she can be the first person to watch when you do your video. So,
she's gonna love it.
Yeah. So yes, I appreciate everybody. But we're going to end this because it is getting late. And but everybody who's still watching this, like I said, please thumbs up. I'll try to get her to do another drawing next time we do the show. And we'll do some shorts about it. But love these guys. Have so much fun. And leave comments and stuff with the shorts for her art if you can. And what else do we got? Subscribe to the channel. And big thumbs up.
Yeah.
Y'all see you guys on a hunt. Peace.